Hey guys, what's up? It's mSubs88 here, and well, today I'm here to talk to you all about what I do to prepare for Beyblade tournaments and how I prepare to go in and be successful in said tournament. So we're gonna go over it. I kind of made a list just to kind of give me some things to go off of. We'll get right into it. This is ways that I use to prepare myself to be successful at a Beyblade tournament. Number one, you need to know the rules. You need to know what is going to happen when you get there, how the tournament is going to be laid out, and what is going to best suit you for the preliminary rounds, and then what's going to be best suited for you to help you proceed through the finals. With that, I guess I can go over some of the rules a little bit for you all, because I'm sure a lot of you have actually never been to a WBO sanctioned tournament. So in the preliminaries, before each of your matches, before you sit down, you pick one Beyblade, and you use that for the entirety of that match. If you win or whatever, cool. I would probably use that Beyblade again, depending on what you feel like your opponent's going to be using in the next round. As I'm sure a lot of you seen through either the Amino or other ways, or through the WBO if you're a member there, is this is actually the combo that I used all through 5 rounds of Swiss. I went completely undefeated in Swiss. I used Dark Death Scyther 2 glaive, which is Christ Satan's entire will, and then defense. And a lot of you also know that my Dark Death Scyther layer broke in the 5th round, so kind of sucked. But luckily, I had a friend there that let me borrow his layer for the finals. But yeah, the reason I used this all the way through is because I knew that it was going to do me good. I knew how this Beyblade acted. I knew the rules, and I knew that it was just going to be good. So I used it, and it was almost kind of a crutch. And I wish I hadn't used it all the way through, because that was the wear that ended up putting it on it in round 5, and luckily it didn't cost me the match. But back to the rules. I got a little bit deviated there. But yeah, in the beginning, depending on the amount of the turnout for the amount of people, it'll either be block round robin or Swiss. And how it works is you'll play through all of the rounds no matter what. You won't be eliminated. But during a match, it's for the preliminary portion of it before the finals, it's best 3 out of 5. So your goal is to win 3 matches, whether it is burst, knockout, or even napped. But whether it be burst, knockout, or even outspin, you want to win 3 so you can move on. And then once you get to the finals, it becomes deck format and a point system. And the deck format is before you like in the preliminaries, before each match you pick whatever. So, but with deck format, you pick 3 Beyblades. There cannot be any repeating parts between the 3 Beyblades, and it's based on a point system. And bursts are 2 points, knockouts are 2 points, and then outspins are 1 point. And if your opponent mislaunches, like if they launch and it goes into the pit directly, or if they launch out of the stadium, then you get a point. but if you make contact with them before they fly out of the stadium, then it counts as you knocking them out, so you get 2 points, which that's pretty cool. Then the thing with deck format, should probably touch on that. If you lose, you have the option to request a replay, which is where both people are forced into using the same Beyblade again. Before you launch or whatever, before the judge counts it down, you have the option to, or you pick your Beyblade, and once you stick it on your launcher, once it is on there, that is the Beyblade you have to use for that round. If you request a replay, that's really pretty. And it's kind of rainbow through there for some reason, but ignore my ADD. But what was I even saying? Yeah, if you request a replay, you're locked in. But if you don't, then if your opponent decides that he's going to switch, he or she, I should say, if they're going to switch, they have to announce what they're switching to, and then you have the option to switch if you want to. Not anything fancy for the winner of that, so it's just whatever. But yeah, it's first to 5 points, and that's that on that. Second point I typed up on my computer is test. Like literally just, you need to find at least a small group of friends or a small community that is in your area and get together regularly and test ideas, test combos. And I guess I'll go ahead and kind of touch on this point. It's actually my 5th point, but it kind of goes hand in hand with this, and it's study the meta. You need to know what you're going to be facing. You need to know what you're going to be up against, and that will help you test. You like stuff that's winning. Look on the winning combos thread on the WBO. Know what's been winning. Test against that if you have a new idea. Learn from it. Third point that I have is don't go in with a big head. Be humble. Don't go in expecting to just outright win the whole thing. I've noticed that if I just go and I'm calm and I'm there to have fun, I do better. But if I feel like I have to do well, or if I feel like I'm going to do well, I start getting nervous before my matches. You can't get nervous, because you being nervous will affect your launch. And that's why I didn't do as good my first tournament, because I was pretty confident, and on top of that, I actually used this, except I didn't use two glaive. I used gravity, and it wasn't something that I tested a lot with, because at the time I was super into Storm Spriggan, and I quickly found out he wasn't very good. I also didn't really know the rules, or how a tournament was gonna work once I got there. So it was a really big learning experience for me, and I took everything that I learned from that first tournament and applied it to things that I was doing before that tournament, and I feel like that's why I did so well at this last tournament. The fourth point I have, and I guess that'll be my final point, is practice your launch. You want to be comfortable with your launcher and whatever type of launch you do, whether it be like, if you have your launcher like this, if you're using a string launcher, if you're using a long winder with a light launcher, you want to be comfortable with what you're launching your bay with. I would never use it like this personally. I learned that the hard way at the last tournament. Not the last tournament, but my first tournament. And the reason why is because when it's like this, when you're launching like this, you're pulling towards yourself, which you can't get the full, you can't get as much power to launch. It's a little bit harder to get that power. But when how I launch, but like this, if you're extended, you have there's nothing blocking you pulling this way. So what I do is I pull as hard as I can, but I don't grip this part super tight, and I just let it slide out of my hand once it gets to as far as it'll extend. And that's my launch. And I guess I can add this onto my list. Get a bay logger. It really helps you with your launch. You may feel like you have a powerful launch, but once you start seeing these little lights not go all the way up, you realize, hey, I can improve my launch. I feel like everybody can always improve their launch, but yeah, I guess that's all I have for you all. I can't stress the testing part enough. Like that's super huge. You need to find as many people as you can, get together and just Beyblade. Just get used to your launcher, get used to the combo that you like the most. Even if you have to sit by yourself and make competitive combos and then test against it yourself, I mean, it helps. It's not as good as having somebody to test with, but it helps. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Oh, get plenty of sleep. I feel like that's kind of a given. It's just something off the top of my head. Just get sleep before the event. That way you're not tired. Eat a good breakfast. Normal day-to-day stuff. I know a lot of people disagree, but Beyblade technically is a sport. So it's something that you have to practice. It's something that you have to, like, if you were gonna, you're gonna be using energy. You're gonna be launching a Beyblade all day, for as many as like maybe up to 12 rounds. Who knows? Depends on how big it is. Like this past tournament was 5 rounds of Swiss and then top 8. So that's 5 rounds, and then you have top 8. So if you went all the way through to the finals, that's your top 8 match. So that's 5. And then there's your top 8 match, your top 4 match, and your top 2 match. So that's like 8 rounds. That's a lot of battles. You're gonna be launching a lot. So I would definitely get rest, eat food, eat lots of food. I don't know. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.